Hi everyone, welcome to this Friday afternoon. It's a tale of woe here with regards to the weather. I'm afraid it's really quite stormy, and we've had some thunder earlier on. So if I suddenly disappear in a poof of blackness, it's because the storms have got me. The forecast to be here all weekend as well, so we can only do what we can do, and we'll try. Hopefully we'll get another hour put in on our picture of the lake of Crummock Water in the Lake District. I don't know how many of you were watching Paula's Painting a Pint today. She was continuing on with her mermaid, which is a very impressive piece of work. And, oh, got a fly. And what was I going to tell you? Yeah, she couldn't get on yesterday, which is a normal time, because the internet was doing heaven knows what. And it does have days like that when you can do nothing. So I'm thankful that we have at least been able to broadcast every day since Saturday. But it's getting time now that we were getting through this, to be honest. Enough's enough. So I think I always said I'd leave the sky till we had the rest of it covered, and then I could gauge a bit more what I wanted to do with the sky. Well, we've got the rest of it covered. Admittedly, this whole front section needs a lot of work still, but we've got this tree in, and these trees, the water and the far off mountains.
Sharon says hello.
Hi Sharon, I feel like I've just been talking to you.
Wish it would rain in Magnolia, Texas, and grass is dying.
Don't even say that. I mean, we're all around here growing webbed feet. Anyway, I did put another coat of a lighter colour on using the large filbert brush yesterday after I left you. I told you I was going to do that, and I did. And I also put some more highlights on these trees, and then I left it for the night in a place where I could see it. And as I watched it throughout the night, these highlights on these trees just sank back and back and back until now they're barely visible. But I'm not really willing to spend too much more time on them. From here, where I'm looking at them now, they look good. So,
Jacqueline says hi.
Hi Jacqueline, nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Thank you very much, and you left a nice comment on Paula's live. Thank you. So this tree, right? It's got the light on it now, and I'm not displeased with it, but it does need a bit of tidying up. Down this side here into the water is not very neat and tidy. There's also some other places where it just looks a bit wrong. There's one of the places, and there's another just at first glance. So I really need to go in with some dark. There's too much light in a band altogether. So I'll go in with some, not the darkest dark, but the next sort of tone down, and just give that a bit more interest. I've mixed up some watercolour, the colour of the water, by as best as I can remember, and I can't remember how I mixed that up. So I've got a colour that is fairly similar, I'm hoping, and I can just bite into that and give it some more definition. But let's not prevaricate any longer. The sky, right, shift those across there. Let's have a look at the sky. Let's have a look at what it was like on that day. Well, it had this bit of blue peeking out here. There's a fly here determined to get me. They're annoying things, aren't they? And the blue that I used, which was primary blue, when it was against the pink that I'd painted the gesso, it came out this ultramarine colour, which is really not what I wanted at all. So given that that's now got a coat of something on, I can put something else over it and it'll stay at the colour that I want it to. So for that, I have chosen cerulean blue, which looks pretty close to where we're aiming for in the picture. I'll just put a little bit of that out. And the rest of it is pretty much a light grey. There's little bits of white in it, but really there's greys and darker greys. So I think that's what we'll aim for today. So I'm going to pay a bit more attention. I'm going to have to construct some device to hold that up. That might. That's all right. I'll get there. I don't need to see the bottom part of it. There we are. Right. So, to assist me on my way, I've chosen these two filberts. I've become quite fond of filberts actually this last couple of days, which is very strange because if you ever buy a set of brushes, you always get at least one, if not two filberts in it. And I've always sort of just put them, you know, in the pot of they never get used pot. But you know, showing you, I have always used it for trees actually and foliage, but never really for much else. But after showing you that, I quite like those. So we'll see what they can do for us. If that isn't enough, then we've also got our beautiful Deerfoot stippler. Probably my favourite brush. It's not the one I use the most, but I just love it. I mean, it's just the name, Deerfoot stippler. Just sounds like it's got a bit of gravitas, doesn't it? A Deerfoot stippler. So, Carol Dodsley. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. Thanks for all the shares that you do. You know, everybody who shares, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really, really do. New people are coming to join us on Miss Paintalot daily, and I know it's all thanks to you lot sharing. You're a great group. Thanks so much for being there with me. So that's pretty much my choices. I've got a large filbert, smaller filbert, my Deerfoot stippler. And out on the palette, I've got this, which is Snellia Neutral Grey. Seen me use that before. I've got a titanium white, and I've got this cerulean blue up here. So can't really prevaricate any longer. Something's got to be done. So let's see if we can get this bit of cerulean blue in first, because the clouds are in front of it, so it needs to go in the back. I'm not entirely sure what these filbert brushes are made of. It doesn't tell me on the thing. They're quite bristly. They're a Zen art brush. But beyond that, I'm afraid I can't really tell you very much. But it does make a nice mark in our sky. Look at that. I do like that mark. Okay, guys, so from now on, I'll be telling you to buy filbert brushes. Not exactly sure how I've lived without these. Paula was saying today how long it takes me to complete a picture and the details that we put in it and whatever. I just like to say that when I'm actually painting away by myself, it doesn't take me this long. It's because I'm chit-chatting, I'm losing my concentration, and you never really get into the zone because you're always sort of aware that really you should be saying something. People are good enough to watch you. You really ought to be, including them. So I think that's pretty much the only blue that's in there.
Natural badger and 30% synthetic blend.
Natural badger. Ooh, guys, natural badger. Who knew that? Just wondering whether that's just a bit on the blue side. Just gonna add a little bit of white to this here and see what we get. I think I like that better. It was a bit standouty. Another adjective that I've just made up. Standouty. Yeah, okay. I think that's better. It will have clouds in front of it, so let me just dry that and then that won't impinge on us doing anything else. Hi Susan. Isn't it exciting about the paint from Paula? I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do with it. But I have to do something with it. Something quite impressive, which I'm not sure what yet. So I'm mixing up the neutral grey with the white, and I need quite a lot of this because most of the sky is this colour or variations of it. So that's quite a lot of that. Doesn't matter if we run out and have to mix some more because, as I say, there's so many variations in that sky. So I think I'll go with the big one, the big badger brush, as we now know. So let's see. Let's see what we need to do.
She made a big mistake today. She went to Lidl and they were selling canvases.
No!
I guess she's probably spent up.
Oh, are your pockets empty now? Oh, dear me. It's awful, isn't it? I mean, I must admit myself, I have ordered something today. But today, can I show you this, guys? 2 things came today. Three things. And one of them I didn't order, and it's arrived, and it's like blooming Christmas. Please, could you pass them over if you don't mind? Look at this. I didn't order this. This came as a complete surprise to me. And it is the Sennelier Abstract, the paints I generally use, but they've brought out a metallic set. So it's all of the metallics. And even more exciting, I'm not exactly sure how you get into these. Sorry. These are free if you buy the set. And what they are nozzles. You take off the nozzle as you would ordinarily to open the paint, and you put one of these on, and you get the whichever one of these marks that you want from the nozzle. So lines, 3 prongs, 2 prongs, medium, thin. You just put it on, and then you just press the paint out. It's just fantastic. I can't wait to do it. I cannot wait. I'm sorry, guys. And also I got, remember I was telling you I was going to be talking about art journaling. So I thought I'd order a book, a journal. So I was ready to rock whenever it happened. And I looked at lots of people's blogs and sites and whatever to see what they thought was the best of the not sketchbooks. Well, it is a sketchbook. Journal. And this one came out best all the time. It was the most expensive, of course, which you can imagine. But it's by Stillman and Byrne, B-I-R-N. And it's their Zeta series. And I chose this size because I thought when you open it, that is a nice size spread for an art journal. The paper does feel gorgeous. It's quite akin to card, actually. So that's that. And also white ink. I see some people use unicorn spit, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. I don't know what it comprises of, but I certainly know about ink, and this is De La Roni System 3. I think they've rebranded their FW inks, but it's System 3 acrylic ink, and it's really, really opaque. I've got quite a full set of them, actually, but somewhere I've misplaced my white. I know I haven't finished it. It's just gone. And this is really great because it's so opaque. You can have it over anything. You can drip it. You can just great. Look forward to doing that with my art journal. So, yeah, that was the exciting post of the day, which I have to say was exciting. It's just that every time you buy something, there's something else there going, buy me, buy me. I think they know that we're soft touches, really. So I'm using this filbert, and I've only had the one colour on my brush, which I might mix up another colour that's quite similar to it. I'm just biting into that cloud a little bit. I don't want to make the sky all one colour, but this colour that I'm painting with is quite transparent, actually. So I'm still getting a bit of what was below peeping out. But I think I will mix a slightly lighter one. Maybe not all of that grey.
Carol Doddy says unicorn spit is like a glaze.
Like a glaze.
You've come across unicorn spit, haven't you?
Well, I think Paul has got some. And when I saw using it, it looked like it could be mistaken for acrylic ink, but could be wrong. I think the one I've mixed up is darker. So that wasn't exactly what I was aiming for. So I'm just going to put some more white out. Oh, blast! I've used that for hold my thing up. Thanks, Mr. F. I've been messing around with my art journal, not my new one, of course. That'll take me some time to get the confidence together to play in that book. But just on loose leaves, really, seeing what was what in the world of art journaling and what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I just walked away from it. And then when I came to get ready from this, of course, we had to get tidied up. And I picked up one of these bottles of ink, and I obviously hadn't put the lid back on it properly. And it's now gone all over the floor. And of course, if you dilute ink, it just goes even further. So that's not so good. So I'm going to take some of this that we've just mixed now, which is a lighter grey, and it does want to read as white, but it isn't. I would advocate taking your time with this. I know there's always the desire to rush on and get to the next exciting bit, but this is quite an important part of our painting. It's a good third of our painting, and we want it to look nice. We spent so long on the rest of it. It'd be such a shame to spoil it now. See, because I'm using that filbert, I'm getting a lot of those crescent-ish sort of shapes, which I'm all right with. I'm okay with that. I'm not going anywhere down to where I might catch the hills. So I'm happy with those. I don't want to have to start painting them in again. Let's just go for a bit of that darker grey that comes sort of down here. Once we've done this sky, really, there's just a bit of remedial work on that tree. What's the sky looking like? It's looking like a sky, come on. And then we're into the foreground. And that doesn't actually take that long, the foreground. Need to make friends with your Deerfoot stippler for that one. Just biting into that so it doesn't look sort of staged, really. make those marks rather than the marks I was making. I'm going to concentrate on this sort of colour till I get to about there, then I'm going to have a look back and see what we need to add highlights and shadows wise. I think this breaks about there. You just really need to lose that colour that's reading as ultramarine. I need to lose it desperately. I'm picking up the sort of medium colour that we've got here. There's some banks of clouds rolling on through. Let's just get rid of this offending article, be gone. Quite like this bit of sky here, so I'll just try and keep everything that I can keep. But some of it's absolutely got to go. Sharon said she's not painting clouds on hers. Not that she's got anything personally against clouds, but they're not going anywhere near her picture.
That's fair enough.
And I'm beginning to think, Sharon, I should have done the same. It's just in this country, today, classic example, it rains a lot. So you get a lot of dark grey clouds.
Of course, if your reference picture does have clouds and you choose not to put clouds in, you have to bear in mind that it changes the light.
That's exactly what I was saying to Sharon yesterday,
You know.
because she said, I think she was talking about her water. Did I think it was all right? Which it was gorgeous. But you have to bear in mind, don't make it this colour. This colour is this colour because it's reflecting this grey down onto it. Sharon had chosen, I don't know what colour it was, but it was a nice prime, like a bright blue, sky blue, proper blue, which looked fantastic. But you really need to make sure that your water's light to reflect it back up, because that's really the only thing that gives your water colour, unless it's got algae in it or something. So I don't really want to paint all of this out because this was such a nice passage. But I am going to have to get rid of some, I feel. I don't mind bits hiding behind, but I don't want that blue on my painting.
Carol wants to know if Mr. Dixit is an artist too.
Mr. Dixit!
My reputation precedes me, obviously.
Well, it'd be worse if it went behind you. Well, is he an artist? It's funny to describe. Yes, he definitely is an artist, but certainly not this sort of art. He comes up with amazing ideas of how to use household sort of stuff. Well, I say household. It's household if you live in our house. Mr. Fix-It is a complete and utter skip rat. And anything that he sees that he thinks is remotely interesting, he collects. And I collect art stuff, So our house is absolutely laden. And the shed outside and the bit outside, it's absolutely laden with stuff that Mr. Fix-It thinks will come in handy. And by that, it doesn't necessarily mean for, fixing the plumbing or whatever. It means he could put that in a piece of art, and he's actually very good at it. He denies it, but he really has got excellent insight. He sees things that I just don't see. I mean, if I can be brutally honest, when I was doing my degree and, you know, we were submitting, because a lot of that was like really modern art, which I suffer with a bit. No, not him. He could see it, he had the idea. So I just kind of ran after him, ran after his tailcoats, did the idea. I mean, I never, ever submitted a bit of his work for mine, although I was quite tempted at times. So yeah, that's the story of Mr. Fix-It. Got a good eye for seeing stuff. And come on, he chose me. He's laughing now.
Yeah. On the premise you might become useful one day.
Is that right? I was a skip find.
Dumpster diver? No, of course you weren't.
A dumpster diver.
You were my one foray into the luxury market.
Yeah, okay. Right, so we've got rid mostly of that hideous blue that we have. And we're beginning to get a sky that I'm really quite liking. I want to use a lighter grey. It needs brightening up a little bit, and I can't work out if that is light enough. It might be, you know. So this sort of come through in puffy little parts. I don't really want any texture on there. And I must say, I think this badger doodah does give you a lot of texture that I could actually live without at this moment in time. Keep spraying these in the hope that they become more usable. I'm just going to take a little bit of white and mix it into this already very light colour. It's definitely not white. I can see from here that it's grey. Look at that. Look at my badger blooming thing. Oh, I'm not used to this sort of thing. Let's just see if we can squash some of that paint off there. Right, I'd say don't buy the badgers. They often have tuberculosis anyway, so you shouldn't be anywhere near them. So I'm going to put a bank of clouds in here at the bottom of that to make it look. And I'm going to draw sort of paint a line along there to make it look like that is a, oh, Mr. Fix-It's on the Pro. What are you looking for, darling?
Just get you some non-badgery filberts.
I don't think I have any. I must have some De La Roni ones somewhere because they're always there in it. You know, when you buy a set, they're always there, aren't they? I think I'm going to have to come back over this one more time with a little bit of pure white. Not much, but a little bit's probably required. Yeah, I like that much better now. That's definitely better. Some whitish clouds around here. They always have a sort of flat bottom that always requires a bit of grey in it, because that is the shadow of the cloud. And sometimes there's a shadow up above. How's it looking? Yeah, it's looking all right. So let's just grow over here. Leave that there and put a shadow mark underneath that. Maybe a little one up there. Sort of looking where we're going. but it's just really one continuous sprawl of clouds. They generally get smaller as they get nearer to the horizon. You can come along here afterwards and put some white in, pure white. I think that's a dark grey. Oh, no, it wasn't what I thought it was. Shadow in there, a little bit further up. Join those up. Where are we? Right, okay, how credible does that cerulean blue look in there? Not.
It says the sky's lifted up now.
Yeah, it has a bit. I think there's still a bit more to do, but I'm quite tempted to leave that actually. Apart from this cerulean blue, why has it been such a pain in my life? I do not know. There we are. I've painted a cloud partly over it. I shall wait till that dries and see what I think. I didn't like it the way it was anyway, so something had to happen. Right, I'll leave that to dry. I'll leave it to dry naturally. It might dry in time for us to go back into. But I think I don't like these filbert lines I'm getting from Mr. Badger. Too much texture. So the filbert is not the right choice. Or this, whatever he is, Badger, is not the right choice. I think a filbert might be actually. Might be the right way to go. But not Mr. Badger. Right, so how are we doing? How does that look? That looks better. Definitely better. We'll leave it to dry, and it probably will need the darkest darks and the lightest lights put into it, because it's not all one colour, but there's not much difference between things now. But now I haven't looked at the rest of the painting since I've been painting that, and looking at this, it's changed quite dramatically actually. It's brought this water to life. Do you think so?
It's certainly
it's changed things around. Right, so now where's my little filbert? No, I was going to use my 1/4 inch angle shader. Had this discussion with myself before we started going live, and it really was with myself. So dampen your brush for those. Sorry.
What they always say about the weather around here: if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, in this case, that wouldn't matter because it rains every day.
Exactly. It's going to change.
I was just going to tell you, if you dip when you've got a dry brush and you're going to start painting, I know you've all heard this a million times, but just dip your brush into your water and drop off what you can on the side. Do it a couple of times. I've already done it 2 or 3. And that then will make it easier for the paint to get sucked up into the bristles, so your brush will carry more paint, and it makes it easier for it to slide off, so you can deposit it in a controlled way. I hope that makes sense.
You love what you did with the big tree.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to go back in and with a dark, because I think before you came on, actually, I was just explaining there's a couple of bits that aren't sitting right with me, really. So I'm just going to go back in with I've got the middle dark green out, and I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that pretty soon, actually. So these ones that are, I've got my 1/4 inch angle brush. I've made the chisel edge, this edge, flat by loading my brush flat against the palette like that, and on the other side, and you get a nice flat chiseled edge. And I'm going to use this for cutting into the trees. Well, I hope I am. If it's the wrong colour, then I'm not. Ooh, looks like it might be the wrong colour. Don't know if I can get away with that. I'll be with you in a minute, guys, if I fathom out if I can use that or not. Quite definitely isn't the colour of the water. No, I think I'm going to have to take that off by adding quite a lot of water to it and dabbing it. You can get your last mistake off. Loads of water and just dab it off. Okay, so I obviously added something else to this mix. Wonder if I added raw umber, because I had that out at the time. Maybe purple? Let's add a little bit of purple. I don't really want to spoil it now. Now it's had all this work in it. Let's just add a teensy bit of purple and see if that does anything for us. Wow, that dioxazine purple. Its tinting power is quite incredible. But that is not the colour of the water. Might be slightly closer to it. I don't know. Let's have a look. No, it's too light. It needs something really dark in it. Quite sure I never put black in my water. So yeah, I'll give a look try to this raw umber. I remember adding raw umber to something, but I can't remember what. I even remember saying to you, I hope I don't have to mix this up again, because I'll never remember what's in it. And I was right. Okay.
Worst comes to the worst, we can all save it for another time and watch the video of you doing the water the first time.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I think we might be all right with that. So what I want to do, what I wanted to paint for, is just to put details in the top of these, this vegetation that's hanging out over the. I think that water's all right. Actually, I'm quite pleased with it. So I'm literally biting into the tops of these, just so it looks like it's branches coming up, and it's not just all a solid colour. And yes, I know this is really quite ridiculous detail, but it helps in the grand scheme of things. It really does. Put them in there. And down here, where there's two trees together, we'll make them not such close friends. And here. This is a sort of spiky thing, so just go with the spikes. You'll be able to see it through the read them. I don't know what I was talking about. Don't even know what I was trying to say there. See the water through them, it might have been, actually. I'm hoping this is going to dry back a bit. Sure it will. Let's give it a helping hand. Right, okay. I don't know whether you can see the difference that's made, but it has made a big difference. Excellent. Now, time to move on to this fella. I'm going to do the same thing with him around the edges, and not so much that edge. I quite like it. You can't really see too much of it because it's against this hill. Similarly down here, it's just got lost in a load of greenery. So it's really this section here that comes out onto the water that I want to have a look at. But before I do that, I'm going to put the darks in that I should have put in yesterday but didn't. Well, that's not true. I didn't know I needed them until that highlight colour went on. So, not all my fault. So this is permanent green by the look of it, I think. Scenario abstract, perfect. Permanent green. Can you tell I've been doing this for a week. So I just want to go over some of these areas that are beginning just have a little touch of unnaturalness about them. So really, you really are feathering this. Really just touching the surface, and that's all. I don't quite know what the top of this tree's doing. Its own darn thing. That's for you, Sharon. When you watch Bob Ross doing trees, and when you watch Bob Ross doing anything, or anybody that's good at something, you watch it and you think, well, that's so easy. How come that's classed as such a skill? And you come to do it yourself, you think, what? I can't do this. I mean, it's the same whether people are running 400 metres or throwing a pot. I mean, that's incredible. That is a real skill. I really admire people that can throw pots.
That's what colour that green is.
I think it's permanent green, but can you find it there?
Which one is it?
It's a Sennelier. No, that's Thalo. Nope. Next dark down. Must be that one.
Yeah. Hooker's green.
Ah, hookers.
Good old Hooker's green.
They're around everywhere. No, what did we discover the last time? That it was after a man?
Yes.
A Mr. Hooker?
Yes.
I thought so. You know, these sort of things like tree foliage, you can play with them forever and a day. You'll never be satisfied with this, I'm just warning you now. You'll always be saying to yourself, oh, I should have put that on, I should have put that on. You've just got to find a place that is stop. Absolutely stop. I've made the rule with my paintings that when I sign them, that's it. No matter what I see, no matter what is wrong, no matter what I want to go and fix, no, it's been signed, it is complete.
Mr. Hooker.
Yeah, Mr. Hooker.
Was it James?
Was he a doctor or just plain old Mr. Hooker?
I'm not sure.
I think I like that better. It's quite difficult because the canvas is flat. Bear with me a second while I just have a look at this. I think that's better. I think that's better, guys. So I'm going to move on to my little angle shader. That fly's determined to annoy the life out of me today. And this watercolour again. And I'm just going to do what I did with the other trees. Just bite into it to make it look like it's just a branch sticking out. Take your time, guys. It does take time.
His name was William Jackson Hooker.
There you go then.
He was an English botanist and a botanical illustrator. So obviously developed that colour for his plants, I guess.
Yeah. I'm having to run some of this back into the water because it turns out it's actually a different colour.
The explanation, of course, is the green of the dollar bills you take to the lap dancing club.
Who needs that? I think I'm just going to have to run slightly more of that colour in. It's a shame because I like the colour I had. I'm not going to put it everywhere, just so it doesn't stand out around that tree. Right, okay, I think the side of that tree now looks a good bit more convincing. Seeing as I've got that colour, I'm just going to make some marks in here where I think there might be some little sky hole. I virtually covered up the ones that I left yesterday. So I'd like to sort of put them back in. Because they are there when you look at the photograph. You can see through the tree into the water. From here up we've got land. So this is going to be our last hole. Don't want them to look as irregular as that. Don't want the branches to look as regular as that either, for that matter. This branch here is kind of on its own. I'm going to have to look at that and see if I like it or if I've just made it worse.
Option B.
Option B, yeah. Yeah, option B. So I'll have to come back to that now and fill it up. Actually, I wonder if I could wash it off. Possibly. Let's give it a go. Oh yeah. Just like I never mucked it up at all. Okay, so how's that looking? I think it's looking all right. Not too bad. Sky is actually not too bad. Just to give us a... Oh, we've got time as well. Give us a helping hand with this tomorrow. Excuse me, guys, I've just got to have a drink.
It says the time's gone so quick.
I know, blinking does every day. It's the fastest hour of the day. Right, so we've got this down. We put this down as a sort of the dirt underneath the heather. And this is going to be sort of long grass and weeds, and as is this. But we've got, that's good. I like the underpainting that we've got, but it needs a bit more. Under the heather is really quite dark, and it's almost a sort of indigo purple colour, which is dioxazine purple. So that needs to go down in sporadically down there. And then we need a colour, background colour for the grass. Now the grass and the weeds are not all the same colour. That's not very thoughtful of them, I know, but they're not. So we need to make allowances for that on what we paint underneath. So what I'm proposing is that down here and down here we leave as brighter parts. We'll have the heather in here, but just up round it to there and round here we leave that as lighter grasses, in which case the foundation, the blocking in that we've got, doesn't need a whole lot of work. Then up here you're getting closer. This is the closest really we are to the whole image, so that you're going to need more detail in that. So that needs parts of it darker, parts of it dark green. It needs a bit of variation in it. That's what I'm saying. A bit of variation. Right, so with that being said, I hope you understood that. I'm going to sort of go against what the picture is. I haven't put that second row of trees in. I just didn't think it was entirely necessary, and it would probably have taken up another hour, and it was just, another hour of trees is more than anybody can stand. So I'm going to put the foundation in for these two bits that are going to be quite light. They're going to be quite light, but they are down at ground level, they're dark. So we need a sort of medium kind of green, which is probably this sap green or the hookah's green. I might just use the hookah's green actually. I might just make a mix, not a mix on the palette, just a mix in how I pick it up. This hookah's green is all but done. Mr. Hooker invented a good colour, that's all I can say. So we're going to make it bright, but we don't want it bright all the way underneath whatever, we just want to suggest it really.
Says you always think ahead.
You always have to. That's the thing. Otherwise you come to paint your whatever it may be on, and it's going to take me 2 hours to paint what I should have put the first time. And particularly with this format that I'm doing, that you get an hour a day. We fiddled around with this for so long. Yes, it was worth it, the detail's lovely and whatever, but we need to be cracking on a little bit. So I am going to use, I think I'll just use a flat brush actually. This is a 1/2 inch flat, short flat it's called. I think it's called short because the handle's short, not because they aren't particularly short. Dump it in your water, get rid of the excess on the side of the pot, and I'm just going to pick them up fairly sort of randomly, and this is where the bright grass is going to be. I'm just going up into those trees because actually they didn't really have 2 coats on them. So now I'm going into the brighter colour. For those that watched the old barn, this will be very familiar territory to you. So it's sort of mixing as we go really. It's mixing with itself. This is quite, in my picture, in my life, in my reality, that's what I mean, in my reality. This is quite bright here. So I'm going to actually break open the green gold. I really, 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 really need some of that. And I'm just going to put this in along here. So we've got a nice edge to work to. If you have difficulty getting straight lines, I can tell you the thing to do is practice. And I know it's really boring, isn't it? But if you sat a kid down in front of a piano and said, go ahead, play me something by Brahms, how could they do it? How could I do it? I've never been taught how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I wouldn't even know how to approach it. And similarly with painting, you really have, well, hopefully you learn things from me. I hope so. And there's lots of other acrylic artists on YouTube and whatever. And we all aim to teach something, but we can't teach the practice. You can watch videos till the cows come home, and unless you are willing to pick up your paintbrush, slap on some paints, you really won't learn anything. You thought you were going to get away today with that rant, didn't you? Not so much. So drawing straight lines is something that you need to practice. General brush control, really. Where you need to hold it, etc., etc. And what each brush can do for you, because they can all do different things, which I know is a bit odd. And you just have to get used to them, or listen to me waffling on for long enough, and you'll get the hang of it. But all I can tell you is practice. And maybe well, I paint every day because I have to, because I have commissions I need to fulfill. But if you practice, if you pick up a brush and you do a little 6x6 piece of paper, cut out your sketchbook or a mixed media pad or whatever, in a week you will see a difference. In a month it will be incredible where you're at. And I can't, just do it. It could be anything. What you see out your window, anything. Go for a little walk, take a little photograph, come back in, have an attempt at drawing it, at painting it. And really, I know you will surprise yourself in no time at all. So this is just the background that we're putting in for our lighter grasses. They don't end abruptly, sort of go off into the heather a little bit.
I think sometimes people don't give enough credence to doing the underpainting.
Yeah.
They think it's a step they can miss out.
Yeah.
But you just don't get the depth of.
And it helps you anyway, if you've got this pink, for example. I mean, look at this whole area here. So a very sparse covering of paint on top of it. And it's really helping. It's helping everywhere. It shows you quite clearly what shade of green you're using, which white doesn't always do that. I know that sounds a bit bizarre, but it's just the way it is. So this doesn't look like it should have light grass. It looks a bit like it's in a dark corner, but I can tell you it's going to have light grass. This is sort of the top bit, and we're looking down towards the water underneath us. Certainly with grass and stuff like that, well, anything really, but certainly with grass, your underpainting is key, absolutely key. As Karen Margulis says, and I'm sure you're sick of me saying it now, it's the dirt. You've got to put the dirt in. So that's going to be the light area as well. Here it's going to be slightly darker. I want to really do the heather before I do this because it sort of comes over that way. So let's get your purples out. Can you see a purple over there? Light one. Like this. Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's going to need magenta through it. It's too. See, this is a very blue purple. In fact, it's called violet. And for that to be any use to us with heather, I'm going to have to add magenta to it because it's too much the wrong hue. Actually, I don't need to put that out yet. And what I'm going to do, what I should have done, is put have you got Hooker's Green Deep Hue somewhere? It's in a Liquitex tube. Yeah, heather grows on moorland, and it's quite tough. It's a tough plant, is heather. We have a lot of it around here because of course, actually, just looking out the window, it's just beginning to turn purple, which really starts to signify the end of summer pretty much.
It's very sort of peaty.
Yeah.
Land, isn't it?
But you wouldn't really want to pick it and put it in your house, really. I'm just mixing the tiniest little bit of this colour, which was permanent green light, with this Hooker's Green Dark Deep Hue, just so I can put in some suggestions. I don't think that's dark enough. I'm going to have to go pretty much all out deep hue. So I'm just putting the suggestion that this is where the heather, what the heather is growing on. But I do want to leave some of that colour showing through. So I've got my Deerfoot stippler, as you can see. And I'm just really putting in a base for the heather to grow on. It's getting nearly finished, guys. You're getting excited, or is that just me? So you can sort of see some of the stems growing up. Don't even really mind if you can see some of, I want to see some of this base colour. I mean, I am using a Deerfoot stippler in a most unorthodox manner. I'm sort of using the end of it like a paintbrush, but I had it in my hand, so I'm going for it. As you get to more closer to the centre of the heather, you see less and less of this dark green, but it is still there. When you've got a break in the heather, there is still this here. And I like the idea that as you look down through it, you see the dark green, and then you see this dirt underneath that. It's appealing to me. So if we get this done, we'll have another little look at the sky for inspiration. No, our sky. There's some nice marks down there. Very nice marks. Can't really see too much up here because this is under the heather. So as we look up, we're just seeing the heather on top. So try and make it fairly random if you can. And I know that that's not easily achieved. So coming down here, you can see these sort of stalks and stems of the heather that's going to go up here. That's the thing about a Deerfoot stippler, it doesn't actually hold very much paint. I am going to look at that sky again before we go today. I'm sorry. I mean, if you want to go. Definitely can't stop you going. But I do want to get that sky done, folks. Oh, you're such a supporter, Jacqueline. Thank you. So that by itself doesn't look like much, but this will be the difference between heather looking like heather and heather looking like a pink cushion, or purple cushion it should be. So there we are. We've got that. We've got some, towards the middle where you're not really going to see very much. It's a bit more smushy. Round the outside where you can see there's some nice mark making going on, so that's grand. Right, let's finished with that, definitely finished with that. Yeah, drop that in the water. That's the thing about Deerfoot stipplers. If I haven't told you this before, you've missed out when the last 100 times I have told you. Keep your Deerfoot stippler dry. It's not, that is possibly, I think, the only brush that you don't dip in water before you use it. And it's, if you've done stenciling, you'll know why. It makes the brush wet. It spreads out under your stencil. And it's the same thing here. You can't get really nice marks if your brush is wet. So use it dry, and then when you finish, dip it in the water. So which brush was I using? Must be this big fella. Right then, let's just have a little, one more go over of this. I'll just spritz my colours and I hope that they're still alive. I really do. I'm wondering if that grey mixture that we had for the water, if I could just get away with that in there. Yes, I can. Now, that is excellent because it's just going to tie everything up. So my advice to you, if you are not following along with me at the moment, but you intend to do this at some stage, is when you mix your colour for your water, write down what you did. That's my best advice to you. I'm just going to pick up a bit of that lighter. Oi! And a bit of the lightest. Okay. I like that. Spray it up a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I like using this colour of the water in the sky. Great, we've established something. This is more like a sort of pillar cloud. Honestly, if you try to paint clouds as you see them, as you actually see them, people will laugh at you, because we perceive clouds to be very different to how they actually are, which I know sounds a bit strange, but it's true. You know, if you're ever driving along in the car and you look up, if you're the passenger, don't do this if you're driving, what you see is incredible. You would never see that on a painting because it just wouldn't look credible. I'm just going to spread these out a little bit because sometimes as you get, well, most often as you get nearer the horizon, they become sort of, they look like they're striated. Let's give that a go here. Maybe a bit too much up there. Yeah, okay, how we do it? Yeah, nice. That watercolour, colour for the water is excellent. There's quite a bit of grey around here. It does come down. Look built in the mountain here. Okay, so in with the lighter colour. Not covering it up totally, but pretty much. Just see foundations and the formations within it. Carol, if you're still on, there's a pair of lips in there.
You're going to get rid of those?
I am.
Well, I'm going to get the hand out.
Not the hand. So yeah, I've kind of discovered that it's best to use this filbert just as an ordinary brush. And it is nice as an ordinary brush. But for the foliage on the tree, it's king. Yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of these lips. Sorry, Carol, if you missed it. I have to spare you from that, I'm afraid. Mr. Fixit's got his finger out, his hand out, so I'm guessing something's not sitting well with him.
No.
It is now, have I sorted it? I think I need a bit of dark around the place over here. Possibly this is a bit of a sort of down here. And then I'll go for my medium grey. Thought we caught a nap in there actually.
Jackson says it looks like the Bulgarian lakes.
Oh, does it? You know, so many people have mentioned Bulgaria to me of late. Just, you know, I must confess I knew nothing about this obviously quite large expat community there. News of communication. So if you go to, I presume you've got supermarkets in larger towns and stuff. I mean, is British food available, or is it all wrapped up with Bulgarian spellings on? If so, I hope they've got pictures.
Pretty much like Lidl used to be in the early days.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a guessing game.
You had to go off the pictures.
Actually, I live near an army range, and it's a big one, a major one in Europe. And every, I don't know, month, 2 weeks, I'm not sure, the personnel changed because they'd come to train there, they'd done the training and they moved on. And everything that was left was fair game for everybody, really. None of my relatives worked there, but the people who did used to come back with all these tins of food. And say, oh, well, you know, what is it? Is it custard? Is it tinned peaches? I haven't got a clue. So I can just imagine them sitting down to the, you know, beans on toast and opening up the tin and it's custard. But, you know, I digress.
They don't go in for much fancy labelling on army rations.
Well, there wasn't any. I mean, they could have said minced beef or something, but there wasn't any. Didn't even say it was army rations. I'm kind of losing this blue bit of sky. I've lost interest in it now. I don't like it.
Storm clouds are gathering.
Yeah, they are. And quite literally, actually, here. Right, let's have a look. That's not looking too bad. We just need to bring something up to here.
So there's no decent cheese.
Oh no.
But friends send
Rations parcels. Right, what's that sky looking like now then? So perhaps I need something there or not. I'm going to go in with white, guys. and see if we can get this sky finished. And then we can definitely move on to the foreground tomorrow. Actually, that bit of bright there, it's just showing me it's in the right place because it's just looks right, and it's the wrong colour, but it's right for the background colour, block-in colour. Oakley cockly, where are we? Oh yeah, here's my picture. I forgot I was looking up there. So there's a bit of white here. I don't want to put so much white in that it becomes a bit cotton wool sky. Just a little bit here and there won't hurt. Let's put these sort of low on the horizon ones in. Don't need to put shadow in that because it's in a shadow area. I cannot wait to see how you guys get on with this. I know Sharon's having a really good crack at it. I mean really good. Excellent. But if you do it, please can you post it on the Miss Paintalot page, please. That's a bit of an old mushroom, that, isn't it? I think I'm going to have to just add something in that.
Also, Lidl has lots of cheese this week.
Oh, nice cheese that you want. Oh no, sorry. I thought we were talking about Bulgaria. But Karen isn't in Bulgaria.
She really likes the Chipotle cheese.
Is that Chipotle? I don't know what this is. I've never heard of it.
Some sort of like Russian Cyrillic type writing.
Oh right, okay.
It's obviously off the packaging. Jacqueline says she likes Bulgarian sheep cheese called Serini.
Not familiar. And really, that's incredible because nobody loves cheese more than me. We love cheese, don't we? Too much, I think. I'm just going to put one here.
Wallace and Gromit, I like Wensleydale.
Yeah, you like Wensleydale, don't you? So really, I think we're about done. Can you see anywhere that needs a bit of attention? Anybody? Let's fix it. You're the only one I can get an answer out of.
She's looking at the screen. Looking quite good, I'd say.
Did not mean to put that bit there. No, I haven't got any paint on. Yeah.
On the camera, I don't know if it's the same thing, but this area down there,
yeah,
looks perhaps just a little
dull,
but just a bit of maybe highlights just to bring it to life, maybe.
Right, let's get something a bit lighter. Just go in above that colour. We can put some light on it. Switch the lights on. Let's go all white on its behind.
Looking fabulous here now.
Who said?
Jacqueline with the harp.
Oh, Jacqueline. You know, you people, honestly, standing by me through this I didn't realise this was going to take so long, actually. Can you see that eye, Carol? Eyeball, eyelid. I'm going to have to paint through that. I don't need an eye watching me all the time. Does that look any better?
Yeah.
Right, what else? What else? What else? What else? Nothing? I think that looks all right. This here perhaps looks like a bit of a mountain. Might just have to just grey that out a little bit.
To be fair, the clouds often do look like mountains.
They do. Right, okay, where are we? We're 20 minutes late. So sorry to have kept you, I really am. But we've made progress. Look at the progress we've made today. Hallelujah, that is great. So tomorrow we're into the foreground. We've sorted the sky. I quite like that sky actually. Looks all right in the monitor, looks all right in real life. And bits of texture. So it's heather and grass tomorrow. Hang on to your hats. Right.
Full circle tomorrow.
From
Saturday to Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness me. For all of you people that have endured this with me, or enjoyed, I'd like to think enjoyed, thank you so very much for joining me again today. I will be back tomorrow, Saturday, at 4 o'clock. Excuse me, my voice is going now. And we'll sort this thing out. Definitely be finished on Sunday, if not Saturday. Sunday I'm going for. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Thank you very, very much.